For more analysis, we're joined by Joseph Moreno, a former US DOJ and national security prosecutor, speaking from Alexandria in Virginia. Joseph, thank you for coming on the show. Maduro, as we were just saying, being held at a detention center in Brooklyn. He's set to face drug and weapons charges. Would just give us a sense of what stands out to you about, first of all, the administration's plan to prosecute Maduro and his wife.
Good morning, Issa. Good to be with you. Well, I think Ellie is spot on in terms of what he just said. I think you're going to see a lot of challenge from probably some very high-profile attorneys on the defense side to this entire operation. To see the targeting and the extraction of Maduro and his wife was illegal. There's no legal basis between the U.S. military and international law as to why he's in the United States. We heard these same exact arguments from Manuel Noriega when he was extracted from Panama in 1989. Now, they didn't go so well for Noriega. He basically tried all of this, and the courts were not impressed. The courts are what they'll basically say is, we don't consider ourselves involved in matters of foreign policy. We're non-U.S. citizens that are overseas. We only get interested once they get in the United States. So I think you'll see a flurry of all kinds of motions to have this prosecution dismissed on those types of grounds. I don't think courts are going to go for it. I think ultimately this is going to be a traditional prosecution of narcotics trafficking and weapons charges. So I think you'll see all this activity up front, but at some point Maduro and his wife will be like any other defendant facing serious narcotics charges in the Southern District of New York, which is known to be a very aggressive prosecution office.
And Joseph, I mean, you mentioned that Noriega. We know the Trump administration's officials have been internally pointing to a 1989 legal opinion, right? And the subsequent U.S. invasion of Panama as kind of a precedent to justify the operation that we have seen that was carried out in Venezuela, an opinion that was authored by William Barr. But you were mentioned the situation in Panama. I mean, Panama had declared war on the U.S. prior to the American intervention. So as a matter of domestic law, is it slightly more persuasive in your view?
I think it's persuasive in the fact, like you point out, the courts really weren't too impressed with Noriega's arguments. And then, of course, you had the Justice Department's position. I would say courts certainly can take a fresh look at it. They can say, all right, Panama, the situation there was that we already had 10,000 troops on the ground in Panama. And just a decade prior, we had turned over the Panama Canal. So you could say we had a real presence there, that the country had permitted us to be there. Very different from Venezuela, where we have neither a military nor a diplomatic presence. So I think they'll point to that big difference and say it's one thing when the U.S. was in Panama, and the argument was that they removed an illegitimate military strongman in the form of Noriega. Different here, where the U.S. went in, extracted a foreign leader, whether we think he's illegitimate or not, and basically what they did was an extradition by force using the military.
Then how long does a case like this, you think, last? And what sort of arguments, Joseph, more importantly, are we likely to hear from Maduro's defense?
So I think what you'll hear is that the concept of narco-terrorism, while it sounds great on television and you see it in the indictment, really has no legal meaning. You'll see that the FARC and the other groups that are mentioned in the indictment, they'll say are not true terrorist organizations, like you think of in terms of like Al-Qaeda or Hamas or Hezbollah. They'll say that this is a circular definition, that you cannot consider drug traffickers terrorism because it kind of goes around and says, well, the terrorist group is there to sell drugs. So it kind of goes in circles there. So I think you'll hear a lot of that in terms of why this prosecution has no basis in terms of terrorism. I think in terms of the drug charges, I think what they'll do is they'll attack the evidence in terms of how it was gathered. It was mentioned earlier on the program that a lot of this had to do with intelligence sources. So they're going to say, all right, we want to hear all about what those intelligence sources did to gather this evidence. And that's where prosecutors get uncomfortable. We don't like showing our cards in terms of what the CIA and other intelligence agencies may have gotten and where they got it. So I think you're going to see if Maduro fights these charges, it's going to be a long, drawn-out battle. And probably the best thing the prosecutors can hope for is a plea agreement.
And you were talking about, given then the charges against Maduro, I wonder what the discovery and indeed, Joseph, the process would look like.
It's going to be complicated, right? Anytime you have classified information, which is most likely going to be present here, there's an entire separate process in terms of how the prosecution shows the defense that evidence. They have to get security clearances. They have to be done in secure facilities. It takes time. It is litigated. And so again, if Maduro wants to fight these charges and really get to the heart of the evidence here as to why the U.S. basically cannot argue that he's a narcotics trafficker, he can really draw this out. He can make this a long and unpleasant process where the U.S. is really going to have to figure out what exactly evidence that they want to produce, and basically, are they willing to show their cards in terms of where this evidence came from?
Well, it's going to be certainly enlightening several months. Joseph Moreno, thank you very much indeed for your insight, and very good morning. Thank you for staying with us at this early hour. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back after this.